I'm assuming you started the stream already.
Yes, I just started it a few seconds ago.
Okay. Are we still on the timer or?
Yeah, no, we're still a lot of time, 15 minutes left, so.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you're starting at 20 past.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our one group esports Starcraft 2 free for all tournament. Tournament free for all match. So this is going to be our second to last stream about this tournament. We're going to have another stream coming to you guys next week. So just to give you guys a little bit of a look at what our progress for our tournament has been up to this point. We've had 2 rounds of games being played, eliminations and preliminaries being done to get our guys into the semi-finals. But what we've done this year to make it more interesting is we've added a night like tonight where we will have a free-for-all match with all the players that have lost in the first and second rounds having a chance to redeem themselves, work themselves back into the semi-finals, and maybe even making a comeback to becoming the final winner of the tournament. We have quite a few contenders playing tonight. We are excited to see what's going to happen. Unfortunately, not everybody was able to make it tonight, but we do have at least 5 players looking forward to giving us a exciting time. We have Stefan showing up. His battle tag will be Wozniak tonight. He'll probably be playing Protoss. We have Edwin Fulyun. His battle tag will be Battle Mage. He's probably also going to be playing Protoss. They had a little bit of a discussion amongst the players a bit earlier about maybe changing to Terran because there aren't many Terran players in this game. And we also have Vincent as coming in with his battle tag Coffee Zombie. He will be playing Zerg. We're looking forward to having a Zerg player in this match. We've seen very little Zerg players in our tournaments previously. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do. Then we also have Sipo, Sipho Silence, coming in with his Protoss plays from the side. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do. And also Christian with his battle tag being Zoltrix. He's also going to try and see us show us what he's capable of. And all of them, of course, fighting for their spot in the finals, trying to show us where they come from, what are they capable of, and what they want to do. So without much more ado, I'm going to be starting off, taking us into the game. I hope you guys are looking forward to it with us. Let's get going. So the map that they're going to be playing on is quite a large map. We've discussed this in our tournament setup, that we'd rather have them be able to have a free-for-all map where it would be fair, where there won't be guys starting right on top of each other. They'll have to work for it. They'll have to try and search each other out and try and find the other bases before simply running over the enemies. I'm looking forward to seeing what the guys can pull off here. I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of different plays. We have 3 Protoss players, 1 Terran player, 1 Zerg player. I'm hoping to see some air plays. I'm hoping to see some rushes. I'm hoping to see these guys taking full advantage of the map. I see the random spawn locations have given us a bit of a problem here with them spawning right next to each other, but of course they don't know this. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. We have Wozniak at the bottom in Protoss in blue. Next to him we have Battle Mage Terran in the middle, sandwiched between Wozniak and Coffee Zombie. Coffee Zombie with the Zerg in green at the bottom. Then we have Sipho Killer here right at the top with his Protoss, and Zoltrix on this side with his Protoss. Looks like Zoltrix is going for the rush. See 2 gateways already up here next to him. Wozniak going for the early expand, trying to get his economy up, trying to win the game in the long run probably. Battle Mage getting his supply depots out, trying to get his supply up so that he can build more units. Not yet having any combat ability. We'll see what he does later. Coffee Zombie not actually acting at all so far. Don't know if something went wrong there. But I don't see any action from him yet. He's not spending any of his resources. I have to find out what happened there in a few minutes. Cypher Killer going for his second gateway. Resources still building up. Not building a lot of probes, which is usually a problem for a Protoss player. They need to be pushing out those probes, pushing out those minerals, pushing out those economy. Otherwise they easily fall behind. Here we can see Christian Zoltrix's first zealots coming into play. I think he's definitely going for that rush. You can see his focus here. He's queuing up more zealots. He's queuing up to make an exciting play. Can't wait to see what he does with this. So generally a rush in a free-for-all could cripple a player early game, and because generally in a free-for-all players would be either focusing on teching up or turtling, and if you are able to cripple their resources early, you're able to pretty much eliminate one of your opponents. But it's not necessarily the best tactic, because it over-invests you in a certain direction as well. I'm just hoping they can make it pay off for them. Christian's little probe getting his first taste of some combat. I think that little probe was able to scout most of the map. Yeah, if I take a look here, he was able to scout every single base. He was able to see where everybody is and what they're doing. Should be interesting to see what these guys are capable of, but at the moment, in terms of vision and exploration, Christian has a definite advantage, sending in his army early. If we look at the spending screen here, you can see his resources have almost completely gone into his army, with all the other teams lagging behind in that aspect, although the other teams are pulling ahead of him in his economy, in their economy and their technology. So in a longer game, this might prove to be a negative impact. I see Vincent has started expanding dramatically. I'm glad to see he is in the game. I hope he is able to pull that off. Here we see the combat happening where Sipo's zealots aren't able to hold off this attack. The rush is very successful in this case. Disabling that pylon disables all the structures powered by it. Very good tactic. Unfortunately for Sipo, this will be his end in the Starcraft 2 tournament. This will be where his journey ends. He will not be able to make a comeback this year. Pretty sure that's GG, that's the end of it for him. So that's an interesting comment, Brendan. We actually have encouraged the players to make some under the table alliances and teams. I don't know if they have taken advantage of it. I don't know if they're going to actualize it, but all the players are actually in a Discord channel together where they are chatting, where they are talking to each other. I'm pretty sure Sipo just gave Christian quite a hard time for this experience that he has just put him through. Although he has not actually been destroyed completely, there is still one probe left here. It should be interesting to see if he attempts to come back. He might actually surprise Christian from the side there. Although it is quite demoralizing if you lose your entire base that early in the game. If we take a look here at the losses, units lost, Sipo taking the lead by far, losing the most units. Ooh, I see there's a whole fight going on here at the bottom as well that I've missed. I see Wozniak has dropped in his warp prism at the back of Battle Mage's base, warping in his troops using that very sneaky tactic, very hard to defend against. If you have the warp gate technology research, you can easily drop in troops anywhere where you have power, and that warp prism provides that power remotely, enabling him to drop in units at the back of the base. While Edwin was able to get out a lot of his SCVs, that's going to be very hard to recover from. However, I do see Christian's zealots charging up against Stefan. This looks like it's going to be a hard time. Oh, he's splitting up those zealots. Very good use of kiting and using those ranged troops to try and eliminate as much troops as he can. This does not look good for Christian, although he is doing a lot of damage to Wozniak at the same time. Pretty much wiping out that probe force at the second base. Ooh, Wozniak warping in more troops using the warp gate technology, using those pylons that he has set up beforehand to try and get his troops to reinforce him on the fly. Oh, the kiting is brilliant. Using that movement speed of the Stalkers to do maximum damage without taking any losses themselves. You can see the losses skewing towards Christian's side, losing more than Wozniak in this case, although it's still very close. Wozniak successfully holding off that Zealot push. Although a lot of damage was done, I think he would be able to recover from that. The income screens we can see here. Coffee Zombie Vincent taking a commanding lead of the resource gathering. He's able to turtle up very strongly, getting his bases up. He's got 3 bases successfully up and running. He's got overlords exploring the map at the same time. He does not have much of a military at the moment. Few roaches and a few queens around his bases, but I don't see much of an attacking force yet, although I could just be speaking earlier. I can see some hydralisks popping out here and there. Battle Mage desperately trying to get his up and running again, get his base up and running. See him building some troops from his previous base, trying to recover. This is the problem with playing a free-for-all. You never know who's going to attack you from behind while you're trying to force in. Here we see that warp prism technology being used again, warping in troops on the back line. This can be devastating if you don't have something ready to respond to it. These zealots are very slow, having to run in from the other base, and he completely misses it. He's decided to abandon these 4 probes and trying to make a push on Wozniak's base instead. Wozniak simply warping in more zealot, more stalkers, trying to push the advantage while he still has it. This, of course, completely limiting the resource gathering from Christian. He will have to try and recover from this, which is going to be a lot of losses on his side. See Wozniak pushing Edwin's base here, and Coffee Zombie pushing his base at the same time. Poor Edwin's being sandwiched from 2 sides. I think that's pretty much the end of the game for him as well. Wozniak at the same time fighting another fight on another front. This is a very eager move, pushing on so many fronts at the same time. Christian Zealots running all over the map. Not really sure what he's pushing towards. Maybe simply trying to flank around the enemy where he doesn't see him. And there we have the end of Edwin's base as well. Very little left on his base. simply a small mop-up team will be able to remove that. Christian's base unfortunately falling. Most of his defense is gone, and Wozniak able to simply warp in more and more stalkers as he goes. This will be the last bit of zealots that Christian has put into the field. Let's see how much damage they can do while Vincent's troops move in behind him. I have to say, this free-for-all event is moving a lot quicker than I expected. I expected it to go on until they have reached max rank and max units. I expected to see carriers. I expected to see broodlords and ultralisks. But these guys are making rush tactics. Although if it wins you the game, nothing else needs to be said. Vincent easily able to mop up the last of those zealots, and Christian's base pretty much completely wiped clean at this point. We can see his resources emptying out. He's not able to build any more probes. He's not able to build any more Nexus bases, so he can't get more resources in. This spells the end for him as well. He's maybe able to create 2 more zealots, and then that would be it for him. Vincent taking this opportunity to expand to yet another base, gaining more map control, gaining more map presence, giving him a strong foundation from which to work. Wozniak focusing completely on his attacks. If I switch on the directed camera here, you can see him now building more warp gates, expanding further, trying to find out where Coffee Zombie's base is. You can see here on the map he hasn't explored any of Coffee Zombie's other bases. Vincent's is almost completely hidden from him, and he has no idea what's coming. While Vincent, on the other hand, has had the opportunity to scout out both of Wozniak's bases. He knows exactly where Stefan's bases are, where his forces is. Well, most of his forces is at the moment at the top of the screen, so maybe he hasn't seen them yet, but he knows exactly what to expect at this moment. Ooh, and Stefan coming out with a few Colossi. These could prove fatal against Vincent's combination of Hydralisks and Roaches. Hydralisks having a lighter armor are very weak against, and also Zerglings, very weak against the Colossi, which whose attacks completely rip through light armor targets in area of effect damage. Here we see Stefan using that same War Prism technology trick again, trying to do some damage to this expand. Which expand is this of Vincent's? This is the 4th expand, 3rd expand. Looks like the 4th or 5th. I can't even keep up anymore. Here we see the forces finally meeting up in battle. Vincent easily mopping up those stalkers. He's going to have to take care of that War Prism as well if he wants to make sure that he doesn't have to face the same problem again. But Stefan gets away with it. Stefan having all the time in the world to build up his bases with no attacks happening. Able to bring that War Prism back into play again, deploys it, and here we see a couple more troops dropping in. So for every warp gate that Stefan has at his base, he's able to warp in 1 troop simultaneously. So with all these warp gates, how many are here? So there are 13 warp gates. He's able to warp in 13 units simultaneously wherever he has power. Here we see Vincent finally taking out that Warp Prism. That's going to save him a lot of headaches in the future. Unless, of course, Wozniak simply built another one and tries and puts it on the map. However, if we take a look at the end card, we see Vincent pulling ahead very far in front of Wozniak, taking a commanding control in the resource department, able to take those losses, able to take those fights head on and still be able to come out on top in the end because he can simply outproduce his enemy. We see Stefan trying to get up another expand here, and if these guys do not start meeting up in combat soon, we're going to see them turtling and out-taking each other, and this game possibly lasting a lot longer. But I see the fight might be coming up really soon. Here we see those Colossi ripping through the Hydralisks, but we have some lurkers in play. These lurkers are devastating to troops, especially large troops, because they are hidden from sight. I don't think Vincent is aware of this here observer over here, which can of course reveal those hidden units, but those lurkers completely ripping through those Colossi, nothing remaining. Even though Stefan can see those lurkers, there isn't much his troops can do against them. With this amount of them lying in wait, they almost immediately rip through any opponent that comes close. Now we see him trying to reposition, forcing the attack, focusing up. At the same time we see Stefan trying to get a fourth base up and running where he defeated Christian's army. And here the positioning of that ramp being used effectively to neutralize those lurkers. Very good tactic, although with the help of these roaches that vision becomes a thing of the past and he can simply try and force through. Not able to warp in enough units in time. Unfortunately, that's going to be biting him. You can see him running quite low on resources at this point. And these lurkers are ripping through his base at this point. He hasn't been able to saturate his other bases with workers yet, so his resource gathering is also dropping significantly at this point. Go to the resource screen, we can see him having almost a fifth of Vincent's resource gathering. See him going for some warp prisms at this void rays at this point, trying to go air, trying to neutralize the advantage those lurkers have, because they're bound to land only attacks, but that won't carry him through in the end. Unfortunately, the Hydralisks coming in and removing that void ray from play very quickly, focusing the attack, pushing his way through, destroying the other bases. Vincent wants to end this quickly, and I think he will. We see him not leaving a single building left. If even a single building remains, then a player can remain in the game, but see him keep on pushing, keep on destroying, not leaving anything behind. At this point, the only base left is this one where Christian's old base used to stand. Going to have to see if he explores that far, if he continues to press the advantage. Take a look at his focus at the moment. We see him gathering his troops, forming up, setting up a perimeter. Destroying the last bit of Edwin's base. Now he's pushing forward again. I love seeing this. I love seeing a Zerg player focusing on their base, continuously using their queens to inject larvae onto their hives and lairs, continuously pushing to have more larvae available so that they can build more troops, build more forces, and make up for the expected luck that Zerg usually have, where they are limited by the amount of larvae at their base. So just having that macro in place where they are able to put out more larvae and quickly and effectively change that into troops when necessary is a very pleasant thing to see. Here we even see Vincent destroying some of his own roaches to free up some supply, I expect. Yes, we see him at maximum supply here, so he's trying to destroy those roaches to free up some supply so that he can build different troops. And there we see him winning the game. Congratulations to Vincent for that. That was a very very insane free fall to see, very interesting game to see. So from our contender screen we can see Vincent taking the win in the end. We're glad to have him. He's going to then of course progress into our tournament. He's going to progress into the semi-finals. He will be playing against myself in the semi-finals, and that's going to be an interesting match to see. I'm going to enjoy that. That stream will be running live next week, Thursday. The time will still be confirmed, but we're looking forward to that. Can't wait to see you guys there, and I hope you guys enjoyed this with us. Thanks for joining, guys. Bye-bye.